Have you ever looked at a map of West Africa? Right in the middle, you'll find Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation known as the land of the incorruptible people. Surrounded by 6 neighbors, its people are defined by pride, resilience, and hope. Here, ancient traditions meet modern life in vibrant markets and music. Let's discover the real Burkina Faso, beyond the headlines. Burkina Faso matters today more than ever. In a world that feels increasingly connected yet deeply divided, this nation offers us a powerful lesson in dignity. Its very name, given to it in 1984 by the charismatic leader Thomas Sankara, was a bold statement. He replaced the old colonial name, Upper Volta, which simply described its location on the Volta River. By choosing Burkina Faso, he was signaling a break from the past and a new identity forged by its own people. Burkina comes from the Mossi language and means men of integrity, while Faso is from the Dioula language and means fatherland. Together, they create a national motto woven into the country's very identity. This idea of integrity is not just a slogan, it's a living principle. You see it in the way communities come together to support one another, a concept known as LAM. It's a social safety net built on mutual respect and shared responsibility. In a country facing significant challenges, from climate change affecting its agriculture to security threats in its northern regions, this social fabric is what holds everything together. The world can learn a lot from this emphasis on community over individualism. It reminds us that our strength often lies not in what we have, but in how we support each other. It's a quiet but profound form of resistance against hardship. Furthermore, Burkina Faso is a cultural powerhouse in Africa. It hosts FESPACO, the Pan-African Film and Television Festival of Ouagadougou, which is the largest film festival on the continent. Every 2 years, filmmakers, actors and cinema lovers from across Africa and its diaspora gather here to celebrate African storytelling. This isn't just an event, it's a declaration that African narratives matter and deserve a global stage. In a world dominated by Hollywood, FESPACO is a vital space for voices that are too often marginalized. It makes Burkina Faso a beacon of cultural independence and artistic expression for an entire continent, a role it takes very seriously. So when we talk about Burkina Faso, we're not just talking about a spot on the globe. We are talking about a nation that is actively shaping its own destiny and influencing the cultural landscape of Africa. Its relevance lies in its spirit, a spirit of defiance, creativity, and unwavering dignity. It's a young country with more than 60% of its population under the age of 25. This youthful energy is driving change, demanding a better future and finding innovative ways to solve old problems. Understanding Burkina Faso today means engaging with these dynamics and recognizing its role as a key player in the story of modern Africa. Our journey together through this essay will be structured to give you a full picture of this fascinating nation. We will travel through time and across landscapes, aiming to build a rich and nuanced understanding. We'll begin by stepping back into the past, exploring the history that has shaped the Burkina Faso of today. We'll learn about the ancient Mossi kingdoms, which were some of the most enduring empires in West African history. We will then examine the impact of French colonialism, a period that redrew borders and redefined power, and see how the struggle for independence unfolded, culminating in the birth of a new nation in 1960. From there, our focus will shift to the vibrant pulse of daily life. What is it like to live in Burkina Faso? We will dive into the heart of its culture. This means exploring the rich tapestry of its traditions, where more than 60 different ethnic groups coexist, each with its own language, customs, and art forms. We'll listen to the rhythms of Burkinabe music, admire the intricate patterns of its traditional crafts, and get a taste of its delicious and diverse cuisine. This is where we will truly get to know the people and the importance of community, family, and hospitality in their everyday existence. Next, we will venture into the country's natural landscapes. While it may not have oceans, Burkina Faso is home to a subtle and surprising beauty. We will explore the Sahelian plains in the north, the green savannas of the south, and the dramatic rock formations of the Sindou peaks. We'll discover its national parks, like Arli and W, which are home to elephants, lions, and a rich variety of bird life. This part of our journey will highlight the delicate balance between humans and nature, and the environmental challenges such as desertification that the country is working hard to overcome with innovative, community-led initiatives. Finally, we cannot paint a complete picture without addressing the present. We will look honestly at the challenges Burkina Faso faces today, including political instability, economic pressures, and the security crisis that has displaced millions of people. But we will not stop there. We will also shine a light on the incredible resilience of the Burkinabe people. We'll share stories of hope, highlighting inspiring individuals and community projects that are making a real difference. Our journey will conclude by looking toward the future, reflecting on the enduring spirit of a nation that, against all odds, continues to define itself by its integrity. For centuries, the Mossi kingdoms ruled their lands, but in the late 19th century, French colonialism swept in, conquering Ouagadougou and forcing the Moro-Naba to accept a protectorate. The French drew new borders, disregarding local communities, and imposed forced labor and heavy taxes. Traditional authority was undermined, and French culture and language were promoted. The name Upper Volta became a symbol of lost identity, but also sparked a desire for freedom. After World War II, anti-colonial movements swept Africa. In Upper Volta, new leaders demanded independence, and on August 5, 1960, the nation was born. Maurice Yameogo became its first president, but early hope soon gave way to political unrest and military coups. Despite challenges, the country began building schools, expanding healthcare, and celebrating its unique culture, laying the foundation for its future as Burkina Faso. In 1983, Thomas Sankara, a charismatic young army captain, seized power in Burkina Faso. Inspired by revolutionary leaders, he sought to end corruption and reclaim national pride. Sankara renamed the country, launched health and literacy campaigns, championed women's rights, and lived modestly. His bold reforms inspired millions, but also made powerful enemies at home and abroad. Sankara's legacy endures as a symbol of integrity and hope. The Sankara Revolution ended abruptly in 1987, when Thomas Sankara was assassinated in a coup led by Blaise Compaoré. Compaoré's 27-year rule brought stability and economic growth, but also repression and corruption. In 2014, a popular uprising forced him out, reigniting the spirit of Sankara. Since then, Burkina Faso has faced new challenges, struggling for democracy and security as the nation continues to forge its future, chapter by chapter. To truly understand Burkina Faso, you have to look beyond the capital and into the countryside where most people live. Here, life moves to the rhythm of the sun and seasons. Days begin before dawn, with roosters crowing and women fetching water. Families farm together, growing staples like millet and maize. In the evenings, villagers gather to share stories and meals. Life here is simple, but rich in meaning and connection. Burkina Faso is a vibrant mosaic of over 60 ethnic groups, each with unique languages, customs, and traditions. The Mossi are the largest, but the nation's spirit thrives in the coexistence of all its peoples. From Bobo mass ceremonies to Gurunzi painted homes and Fulani herders, diversity is celebrated. This rich tapestry fosters tolerance, mutual respect, and unity across the country. Music is the heartbeat of Burkina Faso, woven into daily life ceremonies and celebrations. The djembe and balafon are iconic instruments played by griots who are both musicians and oral historians. Traditional sounds remain vibrant, providing the soundtrack to village life and major events. In cities, these rhythms fuse with global influences: rumba, funk, reggae, creating a dynamic modern scene. Artists like Farafina and Smarty blend tradition with innovation, using music for social commentary and unity. From village courtyards to city stages, music is a source of identity and a force that brings people together. It's the living soul of Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso's creativity shines in sculpture, textiles, and film. Lobi wooden figures and bobo masks are spiritual art, central to rituals and community identity. Faso Danfani, the national cloth, symbolizes pride and resilience, worn by all, reimagined by new designers. The nation's cinema, celebrated at FESPACO, tells African stories from African perspectives. Directors like Idrissa Ouedraogo brought Burkinabe life to the world stage. Art here is not a luxury. It's how people understand themselves and their place in the world. Through sculpture, fabric, and film, Burkina Faso asserts its cultural identity. Creativity is the nation's enduring story. Food is the heart of Burkinabe social life. Meals are shared, reinforcing community. 2. A millet or sorghum porridge is the staple, served with rich, flavorful sauces. Street foods like brochettes and drinks like bissap add to the vibrant culinary scene. Festivals like Festima's mask dances blend music, art, and spirituality, connecting people to their roots. Hospitality is sacred. Guests are always welcomed and offered food or water. Sharing and togetherness define the Burkinabe experience. In every meal and festival, the spirit of unity endures. Burkina Faso is a land of contrasts. Arid Sahel in the north, lush savanna in the south. The Sahel's resilience is seen in its hardy people's stark beauty. The savanna, with its baobab and shea trees, is the agricultural heartland and cultural center. Shea butter, women's gold, empowers millions and sustains communities. The rhythm of dry and rainy seasons shapes every aspect of life. This natural duality underpins the nation's history, culture, and economy. Burkina Faso's landscape is a quiet testament to endurance and hope. In southwestern Burkina Faso, the Sindou Peaks rise from the savanna like an ancient city. Sculpted by wind and water, these sandstone towers are both a geological marvel and a sacred place for the Senufo people. At sunrise or sunset, the rocks glow with color, and the silence is broken only by the wind. The Sindou Peaks are a national treasure. In Burkina Faso, water is life. The Volta, Como, and Niger rivers nourish the land, while ponds and reservoirs are vital for daily life. In Sabu, villagers and sacred crocodiles share a unique bond, rooted in legend and respect. Across the country, sacred ponds and protected creatures reflect a deep reverence for water and nature. These traditions remind us to cherish every drop and live in harmony with the world that sustains us. In southeastern Burkina Faso, the Arli and W national parks form a vast wilderness, one of West Africa's last great wildlife sanctuaries. Here, elephants, lions, antelope, and hundreds of bird species thrive in a mosaic of savanna and forest. But this wild heart faces threats from poaching and insecurity. Despite the challenges, Arli and W remain a global treasure, preserving the wild soul of West Africa. In Burkina Faso, the fight against desertification is a battle for survival. The Sahara is advancing, but local farmers are fighting back with ancient techniques like zai pits and stone buns. Inspired by pioneers like Yakuba Sawadogo, communities have restored barren land, increased crop yields, and brought hope. This is more than planting trees. It's planting hope for a greener, sustainable future. Burkina Faso stands at a crossroads. The 2014 uprising brought hope, but the path to stable democracy has been fraught with obstacles, security crises, coups, and growing frustration. The nation is divided, with some supporting military rule and others fearing a return to authoritarianism. The central challenge remains: how can Burkina Faso build a system that is both secure and truly democratic? For many years, Burkina Faso was known as a pocket of peace in a turbulent region. While its neighbors Mali and Niger battled extremist insurgencies, Burkina Faso remained relatively stable. That peace was shattered around 2015. Armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State began to cross the porous borders from Mali, launching attacks in the northern Sahel region. What started as sporadic incidents has since spiraled into a full-blown security crisis that has engulfed large swathes of the country, particularly in the north and east. These groups exploit local grievances, stoking tensions between farming and herding communities over land and resources to gain recruits and establish control. The human cost of this conflict has been staggering. Thousands of civilians, soldiers, and local volunteers have been killed. The violence has triggered one of the world's fastest-growing humanitarian crises. Entire villages have been forced to flee their homes to escape the attacks, leaving behind their fields, their livestock, and their entire way of life. As of today, more than 2 million people have been internally displaced. That's nearly 1 in every 10 people in the country. These families find refuge in larger towns and cities, often living in makeshift camps or with host communities that are already struggling. This mass displacement has put an unbearable strain on basic services like water, food, healthcare, and shelter. The nature of the conflict makes it incredibly difficult to fight. The armed groups do not wear uniforms or operate from fixed bases. They use guerrilla tactics, carrying out hit-and-run attacks on military posts, schools, and health clinics before melting back into the civilian population or the vast remote landscape. Their aim is to make the state ungovernable, to create fear, and to isolate communities. They target symbols of the state and Western influence, forcing schools to close and replacing government administration with their own harsh interpretation of Islamic law. This has created a shadow state in some parts of the country, where the government has lost effective control, leaving millions of citizens in a perilous limbo. Responding to this crisis is the single biggest challenge facing Burkina Faso today. The national army, though brave, has been overstretched and under-equipped to deal with this type of warfare. They are supported by volunteer defense forces, local civilians who take up arms to protect their own communities, a sign of both resilience and desperation. The government is trying to find a balance between a purely military response and addressing the root causes of the conflict, such as poverty and feelings of marginalization. Navigating this complex crisis, protecting its citizens, and reclaiming its territory is a monumental task that will define the nation's future for years to come. Burkina Faso's economy is a story of resilience. Despite limited resources and a reliance on cotton and gold, the nation faces challenges from climate, conflict, and market swings. Yet entrepreneurship thrives in vibrant markets and among tech-savvy youth. The government is working to diversify, aiming for sustainable growth and real opportunities for all. In a country where more than half the population is under the age of 18, education is not just a public service. It is the single most important investment in the future. The leaders of Burkina Faso have long recognized this. Since independence, the government has worked to expand access to schooling, building classrooms, and training teachers to increase literacy rates. However, the challenge has always been enormous. With a rapidly growing population and limited resources, just building enough schools and staffing them with qualified teachers has been a constant struggle. Many classrooms in rural areas are overcrowded, and learning materials are often scarce, making it difficult for children to get a quality education. The security crisis has turned this ongoing struggle into an acute emergency. Education has become a direct target of the armed groups. They systematically attack schools, which they see as symbols of the secular state and Western influence. They threaten, kidnap, or kill teachers and burn down school buildings. Their goal is to create fear and impose their ideology by preventing children, especially girls, from receiving a formal education. The impact has been devastating. As of early 2024, over 6,000 schools across the country have been forced to close their doors, depriving more than 1 million children of their right to learn. This is not just a temporary disruption. It risks creating a lost generation. The response to this educational crisis has shown the incredible resilience of the Burkinabe people. Where schools have closed, communities and aid organizations have tried to fill the gap. They have set up informal learning spaces in tents, under trees, or in community buildings within the safer zones where displaced families have gathered. The national radio has become a classroom, broadcasting lessons to children who are out of school, ensuring that learning can continue even in the most difficult circumstances. Teachers who have fled their posts continue to teach in displacement camps, often as unpaid volunteers, driven by a deep commitment to their students and their nation's future. The battle for education is a battle for the soul of Burkina Faso. It is a fight against the darkness of extremism and a powerful statement about the kind of future the people want to build, one based on knowledge, opportunity, and critical thinking. Reopening the closed schools and ensuring that every child can learn in a safe environment is one of the government's highest priorities. The long-term consequences of this educational disruption are profound, affecting everything from future economic development to social stability. For Burkina Faso, ensuring the future can be read and written begins with winning the fight to keep the classroom doors open for all. Beyond the immediate crises of security and governance, Burkina Faso is navigating a set of deep, long-term challenges that are intricately linked. These are the pressures of public health, a changing climate, and rapid population growth. The country has one of the highest fertility rates in the world, with the average woman having around 5 children. This means the population of over 23 million is projected to double in the next 25 years. This demographic boom puts immense strain on every aspect of society, from the demand for food, water, and jobs to the capacity of the healthcare and education systems. Providing for this young and growing population is a monumental task. The healthcare system, while having made progress in recent decades, remains fragile. The country has battled infectious diseases like malaria, which is a leading cause of childhood mortality, and has faced outbreaks of meningitis and measles. Life expectancy has risen, but it is still among the lowest in the world. There is a severe shortage of doctors, nurses, and clinics, especially in rural areas where most people live. The security crisis has made a difficult situation worse. Health centers, like schools, have been targeted and destroyed by armed groups, and medical staff have fled, cutting off access to even basic healthcare for hundreds of thousands of people in the most vulnerable regions. Layered on top of these challenges is the accelerating impact of climate change. As a Sahelian country, Burkina Faso is experiencing rising temperatures, more erratic rainfall, and longer and more frequent droughts. This directly threatens the livelihoods of the 80% of the population who depend on rain-fed agriculture. When the rains fail, crops wither, and the risk of food shortages increases dramatically. Climate change acts as a threat multiplier, exacerbating existing tensions over scarce resources like water and grazing land, which can then be exploited by armed groups to fuel conflict. The innovative farming techniques being used to fight desertification are a sign of hope, but the scale of the climate challenge is immense. These three forces, population, health, and climate, are locked in a delicate and dangerous dance. A growing population needs more food and water, but a changing climate makes those resources scarcer. A population weakened by malnutrition and disease is less resilient to shocks like drought or conflict. Addressing these interconnected issues requires a holistic approach. It means promoting family planning and women's empowerment, strengthening the healthcare system, and scaling up climate adaptation strategies like the ZIPITs. For Burkina Faso, securing a stable and prosperous future depends not only on winning the war, but on winning the long-term battle to strike a sustainable balance between its people and their environment. In Gando, Burkina Faso, Francis Kier was the first child from his village to attend school. Experiencing stifling classrooms inspired him to build better. After studying in Germany, he returned home, using local clay and community labor to create a cool, beautiful school. His design won global awards, including the Pritzker Prize. Kier's story proves that with vision and respect for tradition, one person can build a brighter future, one earthen brick at a time. In Burkina Faso's sunlit savannas, the shea tree is more than a resource. It's a symbol of women's empowerment. Women have long transformed its nuts into nourishing shea butter, a vital source of income. Today, cooperatives unite thousands, giving women collective power and a global voice. Their work uplifts families, strengthens communities, and builds a brighter, more equitable future for all. In times of hardship, when words fail, art speaks loudest. In Burkina Faso, artists and musicians use their craft as resistance, healing, and hope. Voices like Sams Kleja and Smarty inspire unity and resilience, challenging violence and division. Through music, art, and film, Burkinabe people declare their spirit endures and their hope for peace remains unbroken. Burkina Faso, land of the incorruptible people. Here, resilience and solidarity run deep, from ancient kingdoms to today's vibrant cities and villages. Through hardship and hope, the unbreakable spirit of its people endures. We saw women empowering communities and artists telling their own stories. This is a nation defined not by its struggles, but by its enduring hope and unity. The story continues. Our 30-minute journey is now at its end, but the story of Burkina Faso continues. What we have covered is merely a snapshot, a brief introduction to a country of immense depth and complexity. The purpose of this journey was not to provide all the answers, but to spark a sense of curiosity, to encourage you to look beyond the simple, often negative narratives that dominate our understanding of this part of the world. It is an invitation to see the humanity behind the statistics, to appreciate the culture behind the crisis, and to recognize the resilience that underpins the struggle. Burkina Faso is not a place to be pitied. It is a place to be understood and respected. The future of the nation rests on the shoulders of its youth. With more than half the population under the age of 25, this generation is the country's greatest resource. They are connected, they are demanding change, and they are finding innovative ways to solve problems, whether through technology, art, or grassroots activism. Their energy and their aspirations will undoubtedly shape the next chapter of the nation's history. The path ahead is uncertain, and the challenges of security, governance, and development are monumental. But if there is one thing the history of Burkina Faso has taught us, it is that the spirit of its people is its most powerful and enduring asset. We live in an interconnected world, and the challenges and triumphs of a nation like Burkina Faso have relevance for us all. Its fight against desertification offers lessons in climate adaptation for the entire planet. Its struggle to build a stable democracy in the face of extremism is a story that echoes in many corners of the globe. And its vibrant culture is a gift to the world, a rich source of music, art, and film that enriches our shared human experience. To ignore Burkina Faso is to ignore a vital piece of the global puzzle, a place where some of the key questions of our time are being confronted with courage and creativity. So let this be a starting point. Seek out the films of its directors, listen to the music of its artists, and read the stories of its people. Follow the news from the region with a more nuanced perspective, remembering the deep reserves of strength and solidarity that we have explored. The land of the incorruptible people has a voice, a history, and a future that deserves our attention. It is a place that teaches us about dignity in the face of adversity and the enduring power of community. It is a journey worth continuing, an invitation to look closer and to see the world with a little more understanding and a little more hope.